Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at my legend team, and today we're going to have a little bit of a section in the beginning where I talk a bit about the team building that I did in order to hit legend and also in order to build this team that we are taking a look at here right now. But yeah, that's going to be for 1 minute in the beginning. Afterwards we're going to take a look at the last two sets that I did with this team. So let's start right into the team building. Basically, what I did for this team is I looked at my last 25 battles, wrote down all the teams I have fully had, and were analyzing all of them, trying to see what type is the most effective one. And what I found out is that for the leads I encountered, most amount of them were weak to ground as well as electric type Pokemon, which means we're going to use the normal Stunfisk here today as our lead. Otherwise, I found out as well for the backline that a lot of Lickitungs are around there, a lot of Lickitung Gligar cores are especially around. Most of the Sableyes plus Feraligators plus Annihilates are lurking in the back right now, so based on also the entire meta score, which I took a look at as well, Wigglytuff is the best Pokemon that you can run in the back, and then I kind of needed just a Pokemon to put in between, and yeah, we decided to go for the Dewgong here, trying to bait out potential also Bastion for the Wigglytuff, plus having that ground type coverage is going to help us out quite a bit. And yeah, I can go a little bit more in depth as well about the team, or like the team building itself in the video itself, but let's move on into the battles. Starting off now with the battles here, we're going to take a look at how this team gonna function. We're going to have the last two sets that I did with this team. I did 4 sets in total, and honestly I could have hit legend way earlier with this team as well. The biggest issue for this team was me. I didn't play the team perfectly fine, definitely. Like, there were a lot of occasions where I could have won the battles, which is still going to happen here as well, where I just completely screwed up. And honestly, I think if I played this team in a perfect condition, like perfectly in every kind of way, I would have most likely won every but like one battle with this team, which is quite ridiculous. Like, literally, this team was so amazing, and honestly, it does make sense that this team does work out based on what I was encountering before, based on my analysis of the meta. So again, if you didn't really understand what I did there in the beginning, basically I took all the battles that I did for one day. We had the entire teams from the opponents. There were like 2 missing, I think, because I forfeited once early on. Or like, no, actually I got knocked out from the opponent from like 2 Pokemons only. And another opponent just forfeited before I saw the final Pokemon. Those teams I just left out. Then I analyzed the leads, because winning the leads is very important in Go Battle League, and saw that there is a huge weakness to ground and electric type Pokemon currently, which also like electric type at least covered up by Danny in the video I did yesterday. And so I decided to go for Unovan Stunfisk in the lead, which definitely was the right choice, as you notice, as I hit legend with this team quite easily, and honestly this team is amazing. And otherwise I then analyzed the entire backline basically. Every Pokemon that I encountered in the backline I just put onto PV Poke basically, went with the entire meta against it and looked which meta Pokemon did the best against all the Pokemon that I encountered in the backline before. And also I rated it. Basically what this means is, if I encountered 6 Lickitung in the backline, I put 6 times Lickitung on PV Poke as well. First battle here, by the way, easy victory. So basically, if I had 6 times Lickitung in the back, I put 6 times also Lickitung into the PV Poke tool there. So basically, Pokemon that were able to beat Lickitung more often, of course, going to have a higher score with it, which I kind of want, because it's more likely to encounter Lickitung. Same goes for Gligar, which I encountered, I think, like 5 times. I had a lot of Azumarill, I had a lot of Sableyes in there as well, and then quite a lot of just like small bits, like literally just like a lot of Pokemon were just like single times in there in the backline. And so basically what I found out with that is that the best Pokemon for the backline is Wigglytuff. There was another Pokemon that is also very good right now for the backline, which maybe is interesting for you as well in terms of the data that I found, and that's Carbink. Carbink beats a lot of the Pokemon as well. But here you have to consider the lead again. We didn't have the lead in consideration before, so our lead is ground type Pokemon in terms of Galarian, of the normal Stunfisk here, and Carbink has both the weakness to ground as well as water. And so like for me, Carbink was not an option, and so Wigglytuff was the only option that I had here for the backline in order to counter what I was encountering. And I have to say, Wigglytuff was so overpowered. Like, Wigglytuff right now, most likely the best Pokemon in the meta right now. Here we're sadly gonna lose, but it's fine. Moving on, we had encountered one Lone Sandslash before as well already, so like I was aware about this Pokemon as well, and I was kinda happy about this as well. Here's the cool thing about the normal Unovan Stunfisk. You're gonna get to the next Mud Bomb with a 1 less fast move, which is really good for you because you can outspeed those common type of 10 turns to get to the first charge move, which you have with the Feraligator, which you have with the Lowland Sandslash here, and that's going to allow you to just outspeed the opponents guaranteed, which is really cool. Also, What we see here is we have Thunder Shock on that normal Stunfisk. What I found out is that Thunder Shock is actually quite important for this Pokemon in this meta because of Azumarill. Azumarill can be a little bit of a trickier Pokemon in general, but also Thunder Shock just going to help you out with that matchup. While of course Mudshot can be kind of cool for Charger Bug, which I see also kind of rising in popularity, as well as Pokemon like the Broguiere, which we have a good backline against anyway. And this is also another thing that I found out. A lot of Pokemon that were like good against the Stunfisk in the lead were actually Dragon type Pokemon, funnily enough. Something like a Dragonite, something like a Broguiere, because they have good coverage, they do a lot of fast move pressure, which we don't have. Our backline completely destroys Dragon type Pokemon, which is really good in the current meta. We still have a lot of lag here. For example, here I would have got an extra free fast move in, which actually would have changed quite a bit, which you're gonna see here right now. Or maybe not yet. But yeah, a lot of lag I still had against me as well, which is kind of sad. But okay, they're going to have a Manta in the back. We're going to be able to win this. Again here, Stunfisk is going to be the best core breaker in the current meta for sure. Being able to destroy those water type Pokemon, those steel type Pokemon, it is just quite a lovely sight for sure. As we're going to be able to take that Water Pulse, we still have our Dugong on the back, and it's going to be a good game. Bye bye opponent. So, next opponent, Poliwrath in the lead. That's going to be quite a little bit of an awkward one for us, as we're going to see here as well that we can go for the Discharge. The stats, of course, that I have here, like the 25 or 23 teams that are used as a base for the team. Of course, it's not like representing every meta or like every kind of meta type, but like this is kind of showcasing you, like if you put a little bit of effort into your team building, you will be able to find a meta breaking team for your either range that you're in. Just do the exact same that I did. Like write down all the teams that you encounter for one day, look at the leads, take a look at what type is effective against them, what two types could you pair to mostly cover most of them, because for me, I think Electric plus Ground did not cover directly like like not like more than 60% or something like this, because like you have Empoleon, which is, I had 2 times the lead, which is weak to both Ground as well as Electric. So like there are sometimes also where like those 2 types together cover up the exact same Pokemon. So I think out of the 23 leads they had, I was able to win, like directly win, like guarantee win 13 of them with the lead that I have here. So like we have 10 that are either counters or just neutral leads, and we had a lot of neutral leads. Here, by the way, I screwed this battle up, which you might not see there as well, because I swapped out straight away into my Stunfisk. What I should have done in this battle is, I should have stayed into my Wigglytuff and went ahead and went for Icy Wind before swapping out, because my play here was to go for 3 Mud Bombs against the opponent, which I would have only been able to if I went for an Icy Wind, because then Smackdown damage, which I looked up as well after the battle, because I was kinda annoyed at myself, would go from 4 damage to 3 damage and would have most likely allowed us to get off 3 charge moves against the opponent. Like this, they can swap out, they can go for the Stone Edge here, and they're going to be able to win the battle. But again, like most of the battles that I lost with the team were for sure on my part and not on the team part. So like I would also recommend you to maybe try this team out for yourself as well. I think it's a great team. Here's how you're going to lose, but we can move on to the next opponent. This should be the final battle of the first set with this, like first set of the video, not first set with the team. Again, I had 2 sets before already with this team where I went positive for the first one. I think I went 3-2 and 2-3 on those, so like kind of staying in the same kind of area. But I didn't want to give up on the team, because I knew from those first 2 sets that I did that most like losses that I took were actually on my end, not like on the team's end, which is good to know. Like I rather have losses that are because I play bad than because the team is like getting hard-walled, not like having a huge core breaker or something that you encounter the entire time, because this is something that you can fix. Like you cannot really fix if there's like a Pokemon that's very common that completely breaks the team. Of course, for this team, there's also a Pokemon that would break the team here, or maybe even 2, with the, Victory Bell, with the Venusaur. Those 2 are going to be able to beat both these Stunfisks as well as our Wigglytuff in the back, so definitely be aware of that. Here, I must say, I made a little bit of a mistake by swapping onto my Dugong. I don't think this was a smart idea to go into my Dugong against a Lantern, and I make another huge mistake. Again, I played kind of like crap there. As we see here, the Ice One coming through, I should have just went for the Drill Run. I was expecting them to catch the move onto the Charger Bug, which they never did, but now they have so much more health on that Lantern. Lantern would have been went down at this one already. And so this is going to be quite a tough matchup for me, as I can still survive this next Exeter, but I still have to knock out both of the opponent's Pokemon basically with my Wigglytuff. And I know that they should be able to still get off one more discharge against my Wigglytuff as well here with that first Pokemon, with that Charger Bug. And this is not going to be ideal for me, as we're gonna go down a little bit there as well in terms of our health, and we might be in range now for one charge move of that Lantern. But as you're gonna see here as well, they're forced to go for a Thunderbolt. Can we still survive it? Let's find out. We can, and so Wigglytuff still kind of showcases why it's so strong. We're going to be able to win this one, get a 3-2, and now it's down to the final set. Let's see how this is gonna go. Empoleon. This is exactly the Pokemon I was talking about in the beginning as well, which kind of gets covered by both of our typings in the lead of Ground as well as Electric. By the way, fun fact as well, of course, Normal didn't have a single super effective matchup for this one, like for any of the leads I encountered, but interestingly enough, out of the 23 teams I put in there, one other type didn't get a single super effective matchup in the lead, which was Steel typing. And that's the kind of the thing which I was kind of confused why we only have now, okay, we have Steel Wing, for example, but like why we don't really have a lot of good Steel type charge and fast moves, because it's actually pretty garbage as an offensive typing. It's just good as a defensive typing. And yeah, Steel typing would have had zero, like, at least super effective matchup for yourself offensively against the Pokemon that I encountered. Of course, if you encounter a Wigglytuff, you're going to have some super effective matchups there. But basically, because Rock-type Pokemon and Ice-type Pokemon are quite rare, or like here paired as an Ice and Water-type Pokemon, Steel typing is actually really garbage in the current meta as a fast move type, or like in general as a type itself. Here we'll be able to win the first battle of the first set. Next opponent, this is going to be quite an interesting matchup. What we're going to do here is I decide to stay in for a little bit and just get a lot of energy. The Stunfisk here has the same sets as the Galarian form of it, and so what this means is we can actually take quite a lot of hits. And here, this is going to be a crucial matchup for me. I decided to go for the Ice Wind, well knowing that the opponent going to no-shield this one, but we need damage onto the opponent's what's called a Feraligatr here in order to get the knockout anyway with that Drill Run, because Drill Run basically does exactly what we're going to have here. And so I decided to go for the Drill Run now, hoping for the best, hope that I get the damage in, and I can. And now it's time to realign. If we don't realign, we're going to lose this battle here. But if we realign, we have all of a sudden our Charmer against a Dragon and Fighting type Pokemon. And I feel like this is going to be quite important, because I expect a Skarmory in the back, because that is a very common team, especially from the first time Feraligatr was released to Shadow Claw. This was the most common team that people were using, and yes, it is exactly that line. It is the Skarmory in the back, and this is going to be quite nice, because we have the Hard Wall here, we have the Hard Wall there, and that's good game after kind of getting Hard Wall otherwise. Next opponent, we are already 2 games up here. We need to win 2 more out of the next 3 to guarantee the Legend rank. We're gonna have a quite neutral lead where I usually want to swap out. Here's the thing as well, and this is kind of the thing which I kind of like about this team as well. You might think, oh no, I get hardwalled here, but this is exactly what I kind of want. This is exactly how the team is supposed to function. We're going to have the lead that is going to be a good answer to Steel-type Pokemon. We have a Say Swap that is going to be having coverage move against Steel-type Pokemon with Drill Run, and then we're going to have a Pokemon in the back that really needs to avoid Steel-type Pokemon. So basically, while yes, we're getting hardwalled here and we're not in a great spot, and I use 2 shields here because I'm a Spar, like honestly, that does not really make too much sense why I did this here. I should have just left my shields, I have to say. Like, this is not ideally played there from me for sure, especially if the opponent can still go for another move here. But I kind of want to try to align myself, to be fair. I think I can still get a move off. Let's see. I can, but we see some lag there as well. But as you guys see, we're going to be able to just knock them out. We can try to go ahead and go to the Wigglytuff. We have some lag here. Look at this. Like, what is this? Like, Niantic, holy hell. But a weak connection coming through as well. But at least we can align ourselves. I think the lag did not really matter too much anyway. We got like maybe 1 less fast move in, which we should have. But at least we're going to be able to align ourselves. And they're going to have the Shadow Salamence in the back, which is going to go down from that Thundershock from our Stunfisk. And that's going to be a good game. Now it all comes down to win 1 more out of the last 2 matchups to guarantee the Legend rank. The thing is as well, you can hit Legend with a 3 and 2 as well with 15 points away, but it's not guaranteed. Like, I had like 12 points before from a 3 and 2 in this kind of Elo range, so like it's not guaranteed. What we see here though is actually quite a decent matchup for us, because the opponent stays in with a Gligar. They went for the bait, which I didn't call. I just like let the move go through. and they decide to go for another bait, and so they're actually in a tough spot now. And they make a weird play as well. They swap onto the Feraligatr, getting a little bit of an energy advantage, but this allows us to guarantee our line ourselves later on because we have that shield advantage. We will be able to just go for the discharge before the opponent can do anything with the Feraligatr. Of course, they can go for one charge move now, but we're always going to be able to outspeed them thanks to that extra shield that we have still against the opponent. And so the Feraligatr is not going to be the scariest Pokemon anymore. I could have also tried to catch a Hydro Cannon onto my Dewgong, to be fair, but I'd rather stay in this matchup for a little bit, go for another charge move, and try to now align my Dewgong against that Gligar, which might be even still locked into the matchup for a little bit, because they took their good old time there before, but they are actually not, and sadly, they have one of the worst possible Pokemon in the back that I could have encountered now. It's going to be the Charger Bug. I can only hope and pray at this point that we can win this battle. The thing is, we still have a decent chance here if the opponent doesn't have a Dig stored on that Gligar. I'm not too sure if they have enough energy. I have a little bit of energy on the Gligar, but Dig takes 50 energy, so maybe we're still going to be fine here. Let's find out. What I have to do though, that's the only job that I can do at this point, is to overfarm by quite a bit. Or honestly, maybe I would have survived the Dig from this range. I think I could have survived the Dig from this range if I went for a charge move before. But I just have to try to go to Discharge and a Mud Bomb, and sadly we lose the CMP tie. And honestly, maybe that was actually a way of winning if I just did not let them go for that extra, but it's down to the final battle now. And we're off to a great start. We're going to have a perfect lead and a very good save swap for us as well. Here is the thing though, I was quite late at swapping in, and this can be a little bit of an awkward one because now it depends if Seed Bomb going to two-shot us, and I am gonna call that it's not going to be enough to two-shot us. What this means is I'm gonna let the move go through and try my best to farm them down, and it perfectly works out literally with a 1 HP here, which is so crucial because I did not want to have that opponent's Empoleon aligned against my Dewgong, for sure not. But what we can do now is we can go for an Icy Wind, we can go back into our Stunfisk, go for the Mud Bomb and force a shield from the opponent early on here, which is going to be crucial as now it is down to what they have in the back, and it is going to be that Giratina, and that is a good game. Like, there is not a lot that the opponent can do here anymore. Giratina is gonna go up against a Dewgong. I can just use a shield, even go for an Icy Wind, have Drill Run for that Empoleon later on, and this is how I hit Legend. I analyzed the meta, I took my good time to try to build a team that can completely destroy the current meta, which this team apparently can, and hopefully you learned something from this video. If you appreciate this one, if you're still here, feel free to leave a like, would really appreciate it, and I hope I see you in the next video, and for that, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well, and see you then. Bye bye.